Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your geographical location. I am your host, Incrandro Lobio, aka Electricity. Thank you for joining me this evening. And we will be doing a lot of question and answer here this evening in respect to the topic. Even though we know what is going on is not strange to us, but we will ask each other questions, and hopefully it will lead us to the answer that we're looking for, and galvanize, uh, steer our minds so that we can do right by ourselves, with ourselves, and for the good of the nation. As you can see, what is on the screen there about a leader, that is a quote. That is a statement from the former Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Gregory Obi, who is now in the opposition. The issue in respect to office of the first ladies, it's not a new thing, so it's not. We're not going to be flogging a dead horse in respect to that. But its emergence has brought a different dimension to the political spectrum of Nigeria, of the country, and so that is what we will be focusing on this evening, and we have to thank him for that, because he was able to steer the minds of people. And we've also now have an opposition party or individuals strong enough as himself. So it's a good thing we have him. But this is a quote, a statement he made that a leader must be, is not desperate to be a president of Nigeria, but desperate to see Nigeria work, which is a very good thing. And he went further saying that a leader must be a listener, a learner, somebody who is strong enough to know that you have to implement the right thing, do the right thing, stay on it, even when it's going to be a huge cost to you. And that's a very strong and positive statement for anyone to make. As such, it begs the question. The first question it begs to us is in respect to these offices and other things, that if he himself or the Labour Party and the obedient movement have challenged the constitutionality of what of these offices, because if it's just to say it like what I'm doing now, I'm talking. While my talk may inspire people out there, but if I come out to say I am now in the opposition, then I have to challenge anything I perceived or see to be what unconstitutional, based on what, on this statement. The last part is very important. Stay on it, even when it's going to be a huge cost to you. So has the Labour Party himself and the movement challenged the constitutionality of these offices in reference to the topic, in respect to the topic, the office of the first ladies? Recently, a few days ago or yesterday, the governor of Rivers State created an office for his wife, even though he has not shown the people the draft document he signed that Wike and Tinubu made him to sign. Have these people, the opposition party, do they don't they feel the need to challenge? Or is it the case that they will come out and talk the way I am talking? Because all I'm doing is talking. But no evidence whatsoever has been provided or shown to say indeed they are ready to challenge anything that is perceived or seen to be what, unconstitutional, either on the floor of the house or in the courts. Or is it a case that we just talk and we let it to be? business as usual, I have no regret casting my vote for him. But come 2027, that is certainly under review. And I believe some Nigerians also will share my sentiments. Few have said it should have galvanized the people after that Supreme Court upheld the judgment of the lower court. But what do we do? What does he do? He's a man of peace. But people are dying every day. The office, billions was allocated to the office of the First Lady, the wife of the president. Now, if we investigate carefully and ask how much will be allocated to the office of the governor, wife of the governor, it will blow your mind. And if you read the description there, it says that we are preparing these children because they are the future, they are leaders of the future. In what environment? These are the things that the opposition party and the likes of Dele Farotimi and Falana and Showore should be pursuing in the court. It's not just for, these are the people who claim to have the interest of the nation. It's not just P2B, but I'm using him as a reference point here. These are the ones who wants to become president, to rule the country, came out to say they care for the nation, and yet they don't challenge the offices, such things that they implement. Even the Labour Party reps in the House, nobody challenge anything. And you want the citizens to actually think that indeed you are an opposition party person who wants the good of the nation. These are your words, sir, respectfully. Even when it's going to be a huge cost to you. Are we going to sit down? Are you going to sit down there and allow this criminality to continue? So, when we say we are opposition, we have to live up to it. And many are disappointed who came out en masse to vote on the outcome of the election. Sacrifice their time, their money, their life. Some sacrificed their life. Some died. Some were injured. Certainly, I know you've never claimed that you are better than them. No. But will their death, their pain, their suffering be in vain? All in the name of, I am an opposition leader. Or is it the case, like people have always argued, that you are playing the script to silence the voice of the people, or the spirit of the people that are ready to follow you? That is what we need to know. So, most may not like my position. Fair enough. But the position I will take. And I will not change on that position except I see a change. Because if we came out en masse to vote, then you owe us something. And if you feel you don't, that is fair enough. God will raise somebody else who will be willing to what? To lead us. Because this is your statement. That you are willing, a leader which you've known us to be, to stay on it, even when it's going to be a huge cost to you? But you kept quiet. Jim, welcome to the floor, to the platform. I yield the floor to you to weigh in on it, please. Thank you.
So you need to bring me a little bit up to speed. I want to understand the full angle to the
full
conversation.
angle is 2 days ago or yesterday, the Rivers State governor create an office for his for the wife of the first lady, for the wife of the governor. And that is not a new thing. So we're not going to flog a dead horse. But we have an opposition party. And as such, I highlighted this question. Has Peter Obi, the Labour Party, and the Obedient challenge the constitutionality of these offices? Because they are the opposition leaders. We've not had any before. And in fairness to him, he took to the podium. Now, some people say I should leave him alone. Well, let him retract that statement, then I'll leave him alone. What is the essence or the purpose of opposition party? Is it to talk the way you and I are talking here every time? Is that the purpose of an opposition party? If that is the case, then you and I are on the opposition as well too. I yield the floor to you. Thank you.
Well, okay. Primarily, I don't think there's anything wrong in the opposition picking holes with governments, the ruling party or ruling government policies, be it real government, tangible government policies, or these fringe issues of constitutionality, like whether the office of the first lady should be had or not. No, talking about it or coming up, speaking up against it, I don't think anything wrong in it. Where I will take it a step further to say where I have a problem is when eventually those caliber of people who are supposedly in the opposition, pick holes with those things, but later on down the line, they repeat the same thing. Now, that's where we would have a problem. So it's all politics right now, that if the members of the legislature buy vehicles they should not be buying in an austere economy, and the opposition kicks against it. Unfortunately, we know that the opposition that is kicking against it is just Peter Obi from outside of government, but his members inside government are not kicking against it because the members of the legislature are also part of government. So, yeah, that's the much I would say right now. Unfortunately, like I keep saying, my perception is that a lot of people who ought to speak up against things, whether they be the opposition party members or even people who are in office or people in civil liberty organization or people like you and me, most times when our people don't speak up against things, I have come to interpret it to mean they are waiting for their turn. I've said it severally that a lot of things that people are condoning is because people don't want to say anything bad, so that when they have the opportunity, it will not be on record that they spoke against that thing. I can bet you that is the typical mindset of most of us as Nigerians. We don't want to speak up against anything because we know we have this sense that one day it might just be our turn. And when it becomes our turn, then we can enjoy what other people have been enjoying and nobody will accuse us of having done anything wrong.
So if I understand you correctly, I stand to be corrected.
Mm-hmm.
We speak against something is different from challenging that thing, because you and I were speaking against it. So we don't want to challenge it because we are waiting for our turns. When we get there, we will continue with it. Is that
Yeah, yes, to an extent, yes. But let me correct a little bit of impression.
Please
for
do.
me personally, speaking up and challenging are one and the same. So when you hear me say we should not have the office of the first lady, what it means for me is that the day if I am opportune to be in public office as an executive of any level, local government, state or federal, I will not have a first lady. I will just have my wife by my side, who would have her career, If she feels the job I'm doing is so critical that she needs to be by my side 2-4, fine, then she can take a leave of absence from her job and come and help me, in terms of being there for me, helping me with home front in the office. Let me put it that way. For instance, the president will need his wife to make sure his meals are prepared. His president, your president can go home with issues in his head and consult his wife and say, what do you think? Unofficially, there's nothing wrong. Nothing says your wife cannot say, you know what, mister, listen to your people. Maybe the man is having challenges making up his mind over a policy, and he talks to his wife to say this. There's nothing wrong in your wife being close by you in the state house and advising you, and then you go and do it quietly. But what I have wrong is when we now create this humongous parallel office called the office of a first lady, who now, has a budget approved for an office that is unconstitutional and becomes a drain on the national treasury. I have a problem with that. So to your question, for me, Chim is a Chim. There is no difference between speaking up and kicking against, or what was the other word you used? For me, it's one and the same. Perhaps for some other person, it means two different things. But what I'm saying is, a lot of people don't want to even speak up, not to talk about fight against. You understand? Because they don't want to, if they find themselves in office, and then they'll be guilty of the same thing. I'll give you an example. The late governor of Ondo State, when he was, I think it was about the time he was the Nigerian Bar Association chairman president for the whole nation, he spoke up against a president being sick and then not being willing to transmit power to his deputy. He spoke vigorously up against it. But you and I know that he became governor and was entrapped in the same exact scenario, that he was even accused of being guilty of planting the impeachment of his deputy so that the man doesn't replace him. His conversation is what is going on in social media today, right now. So for me, it's one and the same. If what I'm saying, I'm kicking against. I may be speaking because I do not have perhaps the platform to take extra step in terms of maybe if it means sending a joinder to the legislator to fight against it. But what I'm saying, if I have the opportunity to write against, I will write against. So for some people, perhaps it's different, but for me, it's the same.
Okay, but the Labour Party has that position to write against.
I agree with you.
And to go to God. You actually, the question I want to ask you already weighed on it, and that is what I just highlighted. The money that will be allocated to these offices could well be used for other good things. That is the issue. And once it's not challenged, if it's just to speak, they say talk is cheap, Jim. You agree with me that talk is cheap? I mean, this is me. I've set up this program now. I'm speaking against it now. It's cheap. You can do it. Forefather can come here and do it. But it still remains business as usual, because nobody, not you and I, have ever taken up that step to say, we're going to challenge this thing. We're going to find out the legality of this thing. Because it's one thing to speak, like I keep saying, and I'll say that again. So, but the money, and I mean, the wife of the Fubara wife, I can't remember her name again, said the children are leaders of tomorrow, of the future. And then there is the environment. Is the environment there for these children to truly be leaders of tomorrow? Because most children wants to be politicians, given to what they are seeing.
Yes. So you see, the thing is this. I'm looking for the best way to come across. Look, yes, it is one thing to kick against something. It is one thing to take the next step and go the extra mile and do what is necessary. Right. I think when people mouth this whole concept of the children are the leaders of tomorrow and all those things, it's just like you rightly said, it's all talk is cheap kind of thing. I agree with you totally. I don't doubt you. I still go back to my viewpoint, which is that a lot of people are doing a lot of things. And so I'm going to switch. I was trying to get my laptop on, so I was using my phone. So after this contribution, I'll switch to one. Is that people don't want to be found in a web. See, a lot of Nigerians are becoming very smart. They don't want to speak up against anything because they fear that in future, those things will be held against them. I've said it on this platform that Nigeria is seen as a pie, is a, the proverbial national cake we talk about. And most of our people want to believe it will be their turn. I have met bus conductors who are struggling, trying to make an ends meet. Their hard work is not exactly matching in terms of financial reward, but their passengers will forget money in the bus, and they would say it in Yoruba. I don't know if you hear Yoruba, Andrew. They will say, Oluwa ti ṣe fún mi. Your conductor, your co-passenger.
God has blessed me. Somebody says property.
Exactly. And look, and think about it. How is that different from our politicians and what they are doing? Our politicians they're from our families. I know we come here and we say, oh, this politician. They are friends, they are classmates, they are previous co-workers in office and all those things. You understand? Some of them even spoke up. But today they have gotten to power and they see it as an opportunity. Tell me, what would they have taken those Labour Party legislators to have said, when Akpabio's leadership was giving them those voting and say, don't vote, don't include us in that vote. First of all, we're against it, but if you want to go ahead, again, in case our number is not enough to stop you from not buying those vehicles, our caucus has decided we will not be part and parcel of those vehicles. Tell me, what would they have taken them? But none of them did that. They all collected it. So it tells you that the average mindset of most of our people is that they are waiting for their turn. That's why I use that Oluwa to ṣe fún mi thing. Most Nigerians are waiting for their turn. Trust me, they are waiting for their turn, whether it is in the private sector. You see them when they are junior workers complaining about, how funds are being managed, how bosses are stealing money. But the moment they become the director, they will do the same thing. They complain about what the local government chairman is doing, but the moment they become special assistants, you see them doing the same thing. And I can go on. I've seen it. Sometimes I shake my head and I'm like, but this is the same person I knew a few years ago who was against some of these things. How come you're replicating the same thing? So bottom line again, every Nigerian is waiting for her his turn. Fubara has gotten his turn, and the wife, even if Fubara probably did not want to have his wife very visible, the woman must have given him shege in the background to say, why is it that it's now my turn that you don't want us to have first lady? And he yielded. So I'm going to switch just a second.
All right. While you're switching, I will before I go back to Peter Obi, I will say this to further buttress your point of everybody's waiting for their turn, even the bus conductor, because I got on a bus today and the bus was actually being driven by my very good friend. And when he got to his terminus, as usual, I was a bus driver before. As usual, we check the bus. And he went upstairs to check the bus and he found a bag there belonging to a tourist. And as usual, he called the control and that listen, somebody forgot their bag on the bus. He didn't say, oh, God has blessed me, because when the person came to, the control called the other bus, and so somehow the passenger was there waiting to get, because I came back with him on the bus. Everything that the person owns is on that bag. The passport, the credit card, money, everything. He didn't say, God has blessed me. He handed over the bag to what? To the passenger. And that is why we see things work in this part of the world. And when even the passenger offered to give him something, it's against the company policy, because I worked for the company before. for us to accept anything from passenger. And if you do, you have to report it to the company that listen. It was out of the passenger insisting, and that is why I collect it. And you give it to charity. Most of the time, they say put it in the charity box and it go. So back to Peter Obi. In credit to him, he said when he was governor of Anambra State, he never had the office of first lady. So we know when he becomes, should he become president, even though I stand in doubt of it, come 2027, he will not have such. But if he doesn't challenge it now, and he did not become the president of 2020 in 2027. That is why I insist, or I am saying, talking is different from challenging. We don't have to get there first before we challenge things. Because yes, I will not do that when I get it, but there's no guarantee that I will get there. So this is an opportunity because we are trying to change the system. I don't have to wait till I get there before I say I will change the system. Based on this comment I highlighted, a leader must be a listener, a learner, somebody strong enough, somebody who is strong enough to know that you have to implement the right thing, do the right thing, stay on it, even when it's going to be a huge cost to you. Those are his words, not my words. So with these words, what will it cost him? He may lose maybe support from those Labour Party rep you highlighted earlier that, you know what, return these cars. It's not too late. Return the money Akpabio gave you, the tokens, because you receive salary. Is it too late for him to say such a thing? Yeah, you're muted, Jim.
Okay, so electricity. I think he's already said things about it. Now, again, see, that is where, to an extent, when people talk about structure and control of structure, I don't know to what extent the Labour Party caucus is whipped into line by their party leadership and by the political leader, in quotes, Peter Obi. Peter Obi being their presidential candidate automatically is supposed to be their political leader. So even though we know that to an extent some of them and their successes is owed to Obi and his movement, but we're in a presidential system of government. Presidential system of government is very much different from a parliamentary system of government, where it's easy for the leader of the caucus, who incidentally is the leader of the party, and if his party has won majority in parliament, automatically he becomes the prime minister. So you know that the prime ministerial system of government, the parliamentary system of government, is easy to whip members in line than in a presidential system of government. Because in the presidential system of government, to a large extent, every candidate is on the ballot, although under the same umbrella party name, but they are on their success in terms of winning, to an extent, you could say, is based off their individual efforts to campaign and all that. So I don't know to what extent he's able to whip those guys in line, because if he was, at least I should see that with the one or two Labour Party senators from his state. At least the former chairman of ABGA is now in Labour Party and is a senator on behalf of Labour Party. So you would have seen that with the influence he would have wielded on. I don't think Peter Obi has a likability factor. He does. He has a likability factor amongst the ordinary Nigerians and among the so-called obedient. But I don't know if he wields a political influence on those members of Labour Party who are in both houses of the National Assembly. So to that extent, I don't know how he's going to be able to do that. Perhaps if he had won the presidency and had been declared winner and was president, perhaps if or if the National Assembly wanted to go on a tangent with regards to this financial, he might tell his members, I don't want to see people take that money. Maybe they would have feared that, oh, their president is telling them, but he doesn't have, Peter Obi is just a likable politician right now. Let's forget what has happened. He doesn't have any control. So I don't know to what extent he will be able to influence those members.
If we go by that argument that he doesn't have any control,
Yes.
doesn't have political influence.
Yes. No, well, let's not say, I won't say political influence.
No, just for argument. Just for argument's sake.
Okay.
Just for argument's sake. Will it be nice or a right thing for him to retract the statement when he took to the podium after about a week or 2 weeks after the Supreme Court upheld the judgment of the lower court, to retract the statement that which he said going forward, Peter Obi and the Peter Obi movement, the obedient movement and the Labour Party are now in the opposition? Because that will be misleading.
Well, not exactly. Remember, not exactly. I hear you. I understand where you're going with that. Not exactly. So that's where, again, people you see, I think influence is at different levels. So remember that Peter Obi is what he is at the national level today because of those obedient movements. It's not the other way around. So perhaps the obedient movement is the people who really need to be the ones demanding on those people to say, reminding them to say, there will be 2020. Let's even assume that, well, I don't want to assume. For me personally, I've moved on. I think Tinubu is the president, and he'll be the president until 2027 or whenever the next presidential election is going to be.
Yes. I mean, that is not subject to argument.
Okay. All right. So now, but let's say they have plans to storm the political scene again in 2027. That is where that obedient movement should, rather than, listen, you see, I tell people we need to understand the times we're in. Right now, the obedient movement can make more statements by conducting rallies, making statements, going across networks, talking to those members of the House of Reps and Senate to say to them, we will wait for you in 2027 when you come back for real. So if you take money that you should not be taking at the National Assembly, if you accept cars that you should not be accepting, especially in this economic situation, we will wait for you in 2027. We will make sure you don't win a ticket into Labour Party, or if you win into Labour Party, we will make sure we vote, galvanize other candidates to win against you, and let them know so that people begin to know that there will be consequences. That is not yet a rule for them. So when they make those statements, perhaps an Obi can ride on it at that point to talk, because I still believe strongly that it is that wave, that obedient wave, that gave some of these people leverage to get into the House. So,
yeah, of course, that is that. I mean, there is no doubt about that. It is that wave that gave them the leverage. Some of them don't know what they are doing, but they say, you know what, let's ride on this horse. Let's make this opportunity, or else we will not get. But we are still staying on that your argument. Look at what they did. I mean, first, did you get this quote was taken out of the document that was sent by Ferrari? I don't know if you got that document. And
yeah, I haven't fully. I read it in a hurry. I haven't taken time to read, so nothing is really.
This I pick it up from. They said educated people are 10% Nigerians, and by virtue of having an education, they should direct and lead the nation, but they have failed the nation. Why? This, let's just, again, for argument purposes, Nigerian population is 200 million, and if we divide it by 10%, will give us 20 million. If I am correct, I stand to be corrected. I'm not a mathematician. I quickly worked this out before I came on the platform with the help of my daughter, and so 20 million. That is the population of Lagos State, almost the population of Lagos State, 3 times the population, almost 4 times the population of Republic of Ireland, where I am broadcasting from, and the country is functioning. So this 20 million, 10%, which is 20 million, 6 million, let's give it to Peter Obi, or the obedient movement, Peter Obi. They are enough, like you said, to move that nation, to protest. to go to him and say, you know what, we need you to lead us in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Is that possible?
Oh, yes, it's possible. See, I actually think that percentage is more, but for the purpose of this conversation, yes.
Yeah, I think it's more, but because statistics was not provided, that's why I say
Yeah.
for argument's sake.
Yeah. So you see, for all of us and anyone who listens to me will know that even when I castigate Nigeria, I don't exclude myself. I try not to, because people tend to think we're pointing fingers. No, I'm saying us. I always use the word we, us, because I'm part of it. The thing is this.
Okay, sorry, Tim. Let me pause you. Let me state this for the record.
Okay.
For the record, we are not standing on any moral high ground in respect to this discussion or any other discussion. We are not throwing stones, because by doing so, we have families that live in glass houses, including ourselves. So, Tim, continue.
All right. So the point I was trying to make is this. Usually what happens after every election is that the electorate goes to sleep. They just think they've elected people. Everybody goes to bed. I have come to realize that for any leader to succeed, there must always be genuine people who are busy putting him on his toes. Not only in politics, even in private sector. You find that in a senior leadership team that makes decisions on behalf of an organization, when the CEO says, oh, they're discussing policy, discussing direction, policy direction, discussing programs, or budget or whatever, you find that in a learning organization, in an organization where things are done based on ideas, let's say the leader, the CEO, is saying, let's go this direction, and majority are saying that direction is not right, and they take their time and look through it and discuss through it. A good CEO will listen to the voice of the majority. He will be the one to announce that, oh, the company has decided we want to go this way or that way. But sometimes people don't know that that decision may not be what he prefers. But within his committee of colleagues, the CFO, the chief technical officer, the chief marketing officer, and all those top other personnels, they prevailed on him with superior arguments on why an alternative is better. And if he is a good head, a listening head, he will think about that. Okay, you know what? Right, let's go that direction. I once had a marketing director, and I'm going to link this back to the P2OB thing. I once had a marketing director who, when we make presentations to him, he will admit to us that these are beautiful ideas, but that we should not be offended that this time around he may not be going with that idea. Why? Because at a senior level where they've discussed, this direction we are projecting is not necessarily where they want to go to. But he will admit that this is beautiful. And that at any time he sees fit to be able to inject it with his senior, with his colleagues, he will bring it up. So we all know. So the point I'm trying to make is this. As Nigerians, we must learn not to go to sleep. Fine, let's take it. I'm not conceding that we now, meaning the good people in Nigeria, that in 2023, that the person who is there won. I'm not conceding, but I'm accepting that he has, based off the system, he's been declared the person to be there. Now, both for him and both for the opposition, the people who support the opposition should not just give up and go away. What you and I are doing now is part of that. Some of them should, who are close to him. You see, I see more people every day on Twitter praising P2OB, and I'm not saying no, he's a good man. I'm not saying, sometimes I say, okay, at what point do we draw this line of this excessive praises? And rather saying, Mr. Obi, we know you are not the one in office, but can you please tell your members that what they are doing is wrong? Can you please call the caucus of your Labour Party members in National Assembly and tell them that this is what we want them to do?
But that is the purpose. That is the purpose. That is the purpose of this broadcast.
Exactly.
And sorry for interjecting you.
Mm-hmm.
And some people say, "Why am I on this guy? Why?"
No, that's so, okay. Oh, electricity. By now, you should know. You should know. I mean, hold on. Before we even go any further, let me say, Comfort. Thank you very much. There's somebody said something I wanted us to pick on. If you give me permission to go back slightly, it's one Ugonna Okoro here. He says, "What exactly do you want the opposition party to do? even if they go to court, do they have chances of achieving anything? You see, that's the problem. Listen, in Justin Trudeau here in Canada, he's been championing this whole carbon tax policy. The tax has become a burden on Canadians. People are screaming. It's making affordability very expensive. People are way down under the tax. In fact, the Bank of Canada came out a while ago to say that, if I'm not wrong, I can't remember the statistics, that either 20% or thereabout of the inflation that is bedeviling Canada is as a result of that carbon tax. That, in other words, if you remove that carbon tax, you would remove 20% of the inflation, and life will be bearable for Canada. And the man refused and added more. The opposition filibustered an additional tax that was going to come, and they held on for almost a week in the House until the Prime Minister went into an alliance with another smaller party to get the number of votes he wanted to pass the law. Now, it doesn't mean that every time the opposition... See, Nigerians see politics as always as a winner-take-all. No. Politics sometimes is not about winning. Politics sometimes is about making a statement so that eventually, if something does go, it will be clear that, oh, there was some good heads who actually were suggesting something good, and it gives the people the moral grounds to stand on to say there was an alternative. Why didn't you respond to it? So Nigerians always think that every time they resist something, the outcome for them must be that they have won. No. So, and that's what we're saying, Ugonna, if you're listening. The members of Labour Party should start behaving like a true opposition. When people walked into the House and started singing on your mandate, the opposition should have staged a walkout, because the People's House is not a place to do that kind of thing.
They sang it to Chim.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But they should have walked out. That would have been a statement to the nation, right? So what you're doing is you are telling the nation that you see this caliber of people from this party, we are different. The day you give us power, we will act differently. That's what you're saying to the people. The majority might have their way, but the minority will have their say.
They sang it. They didn't sing the national anthem. It's on your mandate that they sang it there. That is the People's House. They sang this thing. I mean, I see it on Omoye's corner. This thing, or the People's President, my leader, my able president, and I shook my head and said, okay, and this is what you just highlighted. Thank you for that. So I'll take you to the next one, which is a little bit dicey. Okay. And here it states that most Nigerian political elites don't feel Nigerians' pain because the time Nigeria has not yet happened to them. I struggle with this in terms of if it's accurate. I don't know if you have a thought on this, please.
Yes, there is some sense in it, but while I'm going to respond to it, I want you to take note of what Mark Ennelly said. We might want to discuss that later on. So just take note of that. So yes, a lot of Nigerians play the ostrich, not just those. See, every time I'm talking, I'm going to go past those people who are the current political actors. Because you see, those political actors are not any different from the normal society. Majority of them is, it is from within our ranks as people that we pick out people who become our leaders. So they're not different from us. In other words, the mindset you see in those places is predominantly the predominant mindset amongst the populace. We may just have a few of us who do not think that way. But the prevailing mindset is what you see at the National Assembly. People go to office to lord it off. See, there's a transfer of our traditional ways of doing things to modernity. So, which is that the king owns it all. We serve at the king's mercy. It is the king that owns all the yam and the farm, and he gives you what he wants. So when our people become leaders or go to national service, they don't go there to serve. They don't see it as a service assignment. Rather, they go there to be served. They go there to behave like an entitled set of people who certain things need to be given to them. You know, people sometimes treat this thing as if it is like you join the company you're serving the company, and the company owes you certain benefits. While I am not saying that when you're a politician and a public office holder, that there are no benefits. I'm not saying that. But it's supposed to be that while you enjoy those benefits, you enjoy it within the context of how the economic situation affects your people. So, for instance, we all know that the economy is tight right now. What we expect our public office holders is that certain benefits can be stepped down. You can step it down and say, okay, you know what, why this is my right, considering what is going on, I don't think I need to, take these benefits right now, so that we can be able to create room for our people to have better life. And then at the same time, you're passing the right message to those people. But our leaders, so-called leaders, don't see it that way. Even the one that is not yet even officially written, they will still arrange it that it should be given to them. So yes, while I would say that to an extent they lose touch because Nigeria hasn't happened to them. Then when Nigeria now happens to them, you see people begin to turn around. But I would argue that it is also the mindset of the man on the street. Remember where I started with you when I said Oluwati fún mi. So because see it. Do you know how many newspaper celebrations and congratulations our legislators get for winning an election to go and serve? People are writing and saying congratulations to you. Someone is appointed special counsel to investigate CBN. He gets congratulatory messages on the newspaper. So that is the way we see it. He's been promoted. Finally. Do you get what I'm saying in electricity? So that is the mindset that is influencing this nonchalant behavior towards the populace.
I look at this statement in two ways. One, pain. I believe that the Nigerian political elite do feel pains. I'll use an example. Remember this guy that is in prison in the UK, Ekweremadu.
Yes.
And the daughter is suffering. Is it a liver problem or a kidney problem?
Yes.
That is a pain on its own. Though he has the money, he has the money to do it, unlike the common man that walks on the street, who does not have the money. Mm-hmm. So that is a pain on its own on them, because we don't see what they actually are going through in that sense. We only see the monetary aspect. We see the affluence. We see that, they can go to UK, they go to check up this and that. But that's pain. For example, the governor that recently died, he has the money, he has everything, and Nigeria also happened to him regardless of his money. So that is a pain on its own. That is the way I say it from that angle. So the next one is this.
Is that a pain? Do you really think that's a pain?
It is a pain.
That's karma.
No. The child. Let's say the child is innocent.
Okay.
Because the child is innocent.
I agree, but guess what? So what did I say? It's karma. I'm not using the concept of karma from a wicked perspective before people think that I'm trying to be mean. No. Now, do you remember in the military era? I don't know if you were conscious or if you took note. We had a minister of works, and if you know what the office of the minister of works encompasses, road construction, housing, and all of them. Did you know that we had a minister of works who was traveling along our highway in a Prado vehicle, had an accident? I think it happened to even two of them. One died. The other person, eventually, when it happened to him, he just had a fracture and never recovered from it, and continuously walked on with the aid of a walking stick. So the point I'm trying to make is this. That person had the opportunity of fixing the roads. He or she didn't fix the roads. When that accident now happened, would you say that the person is what's the word you use now? Suffering, or Nigeria happened to them? Nigeria doesn't happen to elite. It is karma that happens to the elite. Nigeria happens to the ordinary Nigerian. That is when Nigeria happens. Nigeria doesn't happen to rich men who know what to do, who are in policy making and don't make policy. No, that is karma. But Nigeria will happen to a powerless Nigerian who doesn't have the ability to do anything. And faces that kind of situation.
Okay,
So,
I concede that. Welcome, KJ. KJ, before we go on the next question, next statement, I'll give the floor to you. I don't know if you've been listening in the background, so I give the floor to you.
Okay. I thank you for so far what you've discussed, and I agree with both of you. And I like how you you don't turn it to another boxing match. When somebody says something which is real, you accept that is it. Why I came in because Chim said you said is what happened to the governor and all that. I agree, it's painful. But if we are leaving what happened to Nigeria to the natural cause, which is either by God or by natural cause, we will not say Nigeria happened to anybody. We'll say Nigeria happened to our people, us, because the government has the money, they have the ability to change what the simple thing they could have done and not doing for us. So I agree with Chim, and in fact, I agree with you also because you already said you concede to that, so it doesn't have any. My own contribution is just that you see these things are preventable in a society that are concerned about their people. Sometimes when we talk, people think nobody hates Nigeria. Why would you hate Nigeria? Okay, but we just feel so pain that certain things that can be stopped are not stopped. Thank you so much. I enjoy it. I'll be at the background, sir. I'm listening to you. I've been following.
Thank you very much. Chim, this I have this as true or false. The West still on the same document because he said there are a lot of things there. True or false? The West don't feel. The West means this is Nigeria now. The West don't feel the pain of those in the North or Middle Belt dying of terrorist attacks.
they don't. We are not somebody's. I think it was the person who sent this document to you, and that is Ferrari, who said that these guys don't care about us. We're not strategic in the scheme of things. Perhaps our nation used to be strategic in the past. Perhaps, just perhaps, but we've lost that influence. There was a time when Nigeria sneezes in sub-Saharan Africa, the Western nations take us serious. In the days when we were declared a frontline state in the struggle for independence of most Southern African nations and all that. The times when we would boycott things.
Tim, let me repeat you are reading this thing, okay?
Yes.
Terrorist attack is one thing. The floor is still yours, okay? And people dying of due to bad roads in the West or whatever it is another thing. So if those in the West don't feel the pain of those in the North, could we also argue that those in the North don't feel the pain of those in the West?
Okay, so quickly. So when you say West, you mean Western Nigeria?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Western Nigeria. That's why I said in the context of Nigeria.
Okay. My bad. Sorry, my apologies. I now I get the question. Yes, I don't think sufficiently we do, because if sufficiently we do, I'm going to say something that's going to be slightly offensive to some people, depending on their level of spiritual inclination. So when October 7th happened, you know what October 7th means?
Don't think so. Can you remind me?
The Gaza, the Hamas.
Okay, the Hamas. Okay.
Okay. So when October 7th happened, a prominent Nigerian minister did a video in solidarity with the state of Israel.
Yeah, I think that's Adeboye.
Okay, I don't want to mention names.
No. Listen, we have to mention it. That is not being disrespectful.
No, I know, but I know why I said I don't want to.
Make
don't worry, electricity. I know why I said I don't want to mention names. I intentionally just said I didn't want to mention it, but that's fine. I was not because I'm afraid, but I intentionally didn't want to. Now, here's the thing: a video was done supporting and wishing the state of Israel well, praying for them, encouraging them that you are with them in prayers and in whatever else you were with them. This is how many hours after Play 2 happened? Where is the similar video to say this is not right? these are people in the same territorial nation with you. You could do that for people elsewhere, but you are not able to do that for these people in the same country with you. So to an extent, I think those of us, and I'm putting myself as if I'm still in the West, as if I'm still in Nigeria's West, who are in the West, sometimes we are totally torn apart from what is happening in the North and in the Middle Belt, because we have this our relative peace. You know, we're able to assemble, we're able to worship, we're able to do this. And sometimes it just, we don't care. But the moment we see Israel, and that's not to say that we shouldn't empathize or sympathize with the people of Israel. No, I'm not saying that. If you're able, I'm just saying if you're able to see the need to show solidarity, because nobody's even asking you to come and fight physically, but there is this moral, this thing that you show that encourages your brother to say that, oh, people feel my plight. Do you understand? It could be in terms of even visiting those places. This is a celebratory season. How busy are you that you cannot say, what? There was an ambush in Plateau. Oh my goodness, please, publicity. Is there a way for me to quickly make a quick dash to go and commiserate with the governor? And if possible, how can we support these people in that have been thrown into IDPs and whatever? Do we have any exigency? I know it's the end of the year. I'm trying to be rational enough.
In respect to the governor, I read that it was
Party.
Tinubu's party.
Oh yes.
That,
so we will come to that. But
okay, you will go there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The floor is yours.
So my point is, people from the West, and not only West now, even East. So I would rather say people from the southern part of the country. So it doesn't look like you're singling out any part of the tri-regional areas of the South. We don't show sufficient concern of the plight of our core or fellow Nigerians in that middle belt going through those challenges. You will not see people write in Facebook to talk about it, but people are writing and talking about other silly things, you know. So I think we're totally detached. And then perhaps there may be an argument that maybe there was a crisis in the South, that the people in the North don't show similar empathy. Perhaps it's true. I don't know.
Yeah, and in fairness, when Adeboye put out that statement, a lot of people criticize him. Even Rudolph also put out a video, and I heard he deleted the video from the Twitter space. I mean, X space as it is called now.
Who deleted the video?
Adeboye. It was, I heard.
The video for who? The video for Israel.
For Israel, he deleted it. But
I still saw it today anyway. But go ahead.
No, you can, even though it's deleted, it's still in the space. Okay. You can delete it there, but it's still in. I mean, it's on this platform, so we can play it again if we want to, but we don't need to. But you see, he is just one person. So, and for the fact that he was called out and he deleted it, and a lot of people called him out, clearly indicates that the West shows sympathy in times of crisis. When the Plateau incident, I mean the Kaduna, the bomb, those 126 people that were killed, a lot of people condemn it from the West. To me, I don't think this is a fair statement. I think this statement will further divide, not unite. For me.
Okay. So that's why I said I didn't want to look at it from a regional north-east-west perspective. I'd rather look at it from a leadership angle. You know, we have different cadres of leaders. We have religious leaders, we have business leaders, we have political leaders. So, and the people see, like I said it here once, Nigerians just want to see their leaders show germane empathy. There's nothing wrong, especially in some instances where you know there are some religious connotations in it. So you are a Christian and you see that a predominantly set of Christians, perhaps in the North, have been touched in a particular way. It will not be out of place if you go there and comfort them. Not necessarily that you're going to go to everywhere that was hit. You visit the state government or the local government chairman, make a statement to say, we see your plight, we feel your plight. We may not live here with you on a day-to-day basis, but we understand the challenges you are going through. We are praying for you. Where we can make submissions using our influence to talk to government to do something quickly, we will do. And where we can give humanitarian services, we will offer. That's what people want to see. But when people don't see it, that's when some of the things you're talking about starts happening. People now start beginning to, because you know the human mind has a way of trying to narrow things down to the most minutest, unnecessary categorization. And then they start saying the West. No, there are sufficient Western leaders who are not happy with what is happening in the North. Ditto East, ditto South, and all that. But you see, what people are actually looking out for is to see these so-called religious and spiritual leaders show more empathy and concern. That's what they are looking for.
We'll come to that religious leader because there's a question, a statement I'm going to highlight. But I left Comfort comment there. And the reason why I left it there is life, citizens' life. And citizens' life is across board, north, south, east, west. And that is why I would disagree with that statement, that comment, because I think if in the context of Nigeria, lives have been lost every day, north, south, east, west, either via terrorist attack or via kidnapping or via accident. People are unable to pay their hospital bills, and even via hunger, even though we don't hear much of that, armed robbery. So these things occur across the nation. I personally, from my position, I don't agree with that, because every life is important, whether it's the northern person, the south, the east, or the west. The floor is back to you.
Okay, so I think I agree with Comfort. I think this past weekend I said it that
whatever you want to do.
Sorry, was anybody saying something?
No, go ahead. Okay. I've muted.
Okay. All right. So this past weekend when we were talking about defense, I think it was with Forefather, we're talking about defense and how our defense, our security personnel are not being utilized to take care of the people. And Forefather said it's because they don't have enough funding and all those things, and that they have been designated to protect national security assets. And I said, what is the greatest asset that will be greater than your citizenry? Your citizenry should be your greatest asset. So if you are busy protecting pipelines as against protecting villages, especially, these things are not new. We know that it's becoming a recurrent phenomenon that during Yuletide times like this, terrorists go on a rampage. Madala happened during a Christmas season under Jonathan. There was also another one during I think Jonathan's swearing in. People detonated a bomb around the Eagle Square. It's been common. Then the Ondo church thing also. So I was saying that while we are not saying that the government will be everywhere, we know that because Nigeria is dealing with terrorists, the security forces are overstretched. I agree. But would it have been out of place within this period to identify core areas these things usually happen and send forces to those places to be on the red alert? Not even if they can't stop them, but they will form a form of deterrence. They will know that the government is up and doing within this period and do something. But nothing happened. They are busy protecting assets. Our president feels that it is okay when his fellow Nigerians are mourning and crying to be throwing a party. Would you think it will happen in any other nation where they are having this crisis? Wouldn't the president just suspend the party as a mark of respect? Because you see, when you do those things, it tells the people that you take them serious. But when you go ahead to throw your party, irrespective of, and the party is happening, it's not as if you were having a party and it happened. Then we can excuse that the party was already ongoing. But days and weeks after the thing happened, you went ahead to hold your party. Why would you be doing that? You're saying to your people, you do not matter. So to that extent, what Comfort wrote is correct.
Thank you, Stone. Welcome to the platform. I don't know if you've been listening in the background before we go to the next. What I need to highlight, if you want to weigh in on the issues we've been discussing so far.
I'm not, what, I just really listened scatteringly. Are you talking about the events of Plateau State?
We're talking about the wife of the office created by Fubara for his wife, but we said that is a dead horse too. That we're not going to flog that. As talking about is flogging a dead horse. However, we went to highlight the opposition. What is their purpose? Because they are not challenging. Where is the? Let me see. Let me highlight that 1 second. The opposition have not challenged the constitutionality of these offices. So that is the main discussion, and we continue in that light. So if
Okay.
you want to weigh into it before I highlight the next slide.
Okay. I believe before you challenge something, you need to get your house in order. I believe the Labour Party is in a mess. I believe that Labour Party is in a
No,
mess.
no, Tim, we've waited on that. We agree with you. I mean,
Yeah,
this,
and
yeah.
if
So
I were Peter Obi, now that the iron is hot, so to say, I will strike. And how will I strike? I will rename. I will keep out another party and call it a new Labour Party. So all the debt all the no, no, this is my opinion. I'll
I
tell you.
know, I
I'll tell
know,
you.
I
No,
know.
all the dead horses and all the troublemakers will be sorted out. That's what I'll do, and then start building. Now, Peter Obi has been kind of quiet. Dati has been kind of quiet. Maybe I will assume there's something cooking in the background. Maybe it's a strategy that they are cooking something in the background. I would like to think that they are cooking something secretly, but as it stands, with the way Labour Party is, they cannot challenge strongly the ruling party. And the ruling party is they are making themselves stronger in every aspect of government. They've got the judiciary, they've got the military, and all that. So what do you want to do?
thank you.
What can you do?
Uh, don't run away with this because there's something I want to show after it. So,
Okay.
Let me just
when you refuse to know God for free, you will end up buying anointing oil for 120K. Don't run away with it. You must pay for your ignorance. Now, here's the question. Here's the question. Are the Nigerian citizens suffering due to ignorance?
is that for me or for him?
It's for the floor. Either of you can go. Let a tone go
Uh,
first because
I
he just
think I think for the Agbado people, I wouldn't say it's ignorance. I think they are living in denial. They know they can see what they've been warned about, but they are still living in denial. And that's what I said last week during the
Tone, look at it
broadcast. That
again. This is
yeah.
not about Agbado or whatever it is. The
Okay,
are the
okay,
citizens,
okay,
Nigerian
okay. Let me
citizens,
okay, okay.
suffering due to
What
ignorance.
what? See, the core problem, the core of until we realize is the core of our problem is tribal. Until we deal with that tribal sentiment, okay, look at what is happening in Ondo State today. I got a better understanding of what's going on. Now it seems the guy that has been sworn in today has his own faction. And although I didn't know even it's even that complicated, they've got south of that. So there were some people that were waiting for Akeredolu to fall. And how can you be celebrating? I mean, no matter how the difference and all that, how come we've gotten to a place and all that there's no respect for a man that had just passed away and all that, no decency. You guys are healing, you're celebrating as if an election has been won. That is where we've gotten to in Nigeria. Human life has no meaning at all. It's all about power. It's all about people from my divide. From it's So until we deal with this matter and all that, see, we cannot go forward. On the one hand, IPOB is telling some people they shouldn't be involved with the government. That they shouldn't vote and all that. I agree where I can understand a bit from where they're coming from, but that is not the solution. We have one common enemy, and the common enemy is not the Yoruba man, it's not the Igbo man, it's not the Hausa Fulani that they will say and all that. It is the corrupt politicians. The corrupt politicians are from everywhere in Nigeria. We need to fight them collectively as a people, but they're not. They're not just seeing this. Everybody is there to go and collect what they want to collect and all that, and just build. That's it. So I wouldn't say it's ignorance. What I will say personally, I think it's just uh, they're living in denial, and until when they are it has gotten to some extent, and now they will say no way, we're not going to have it. And that is the passion all of us have in diaspora. That's why we come here weekday, over the weekend and all that. We should be relaxing and doing other things. That we come here and then we are shouting at each other, we are brainstorming and all that. Nigeria needs to come to that level. Until they come to that level, nothing is happening. Nothing is going to happen, I'm afraid.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay. So for me, I agree with the statement again. There is where we are suffering as a result of our ignorance. We're suffering because we do not realize that that the office of the citizen is the most important office. We're suffering because we choose to play sectional and ethnic politics when we should be talking about how our nation should be developing and evolving. It's all ignorance, and it's not just ignorance. So ignorance can even be ignorance that you don't know. You understand? As in, you don't know. But this ignorance is not an ignorance of you don't know. This ignorance is self-inflicted ignorance.
Thank you very much.
choose
Chief,
to
let
be
me interject you there. Thank you for
okay.
that. I will welcome Jagun. Because the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Mhm,
Is it knowledge of God because we all have this knowledge of God, or
mhm.
knowledge of his ways?
It's both. So for some people, it is knowledge of God in the sense that can you put up that other one that says the longer post? Can you put it up? The longer one, not this one, the other one. When you refuse to know God for free, the operating word there is free. You will end up buying anointing oil for 120K. You see, okay, so I have been guilty of this. I've been guilty at the level of my Christian understanding where I was all about activity. Oh, they say we should come to camp or we run to camp. Oh, they will tell Christian the program one name, and I will not use any of the popular names, so nobody will accuse me of singling out any of their papa's program. I've been part of it. But guess what? At some stage, I sat back to say, is this really what God has called us to do? I had nothing to do with me coming here. As after a while, I just started telling myself, okay, you know what? I would genuinely attend programs that I feel, aid my knowledge of the word of God. And the ones I think were just frivolities, I stay away and back off. Do you understand? There's nothing wrong in praying. There's nothing wrong in having religious celebrations. There's nothing wrong in it. But our people just think, they don't question things. Do you know sometimes God even wants you to question things? And questioning things doesn't mean you're running down the man or bishop or pastor or what. No, you just question the Bible. What does the Bible say about the Berean Christians? That after they've heard this word from Paul that has healed people, raised the dead, done all this, they will go back and open the Bible and search just to be sure that Paul was not under the influence of emotional this thing and was doing what he was doing. They go and check.
I'm going to stop you there. Not that you still have the floor. Going by, we don't question things. Many on this platform have condemned the Constitution, even without reading it. Is that different? Is that not the same thing with this statement, what is it here? Is it not the same thing with this statement? They refuse to know for free it's what is inside the Constitution.
So yes, okay, so to an extent, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that people are not asking. I know that people are saying change Constitution, and it can become a bandwagon. So they are riding off what other people are saying. But the truth about the matter is, people have read the Constitution and have identified things in it that do not sit right. I haven't read everything in the Constitution, but I have read elements. I have seen things that I feel are not appropriate or are not sitting well or might be good, but put in the wrong perspective. For instance, I see no reason why, the federal government should be the owner of every resources in the country. That's an aberration. Do you understand? So you don't need to even read the Constitution to talk about that one. What I'm saying is, question things. Even if you haven't read it, but you know that, oh, this is what is going on. Ask yourself, is this thing correct? Is this thing right? Should it be the way it should be done? You understand? And then it becomes a basis for people to look in. I think that there were people in the days when Moses was the leader of the Israelites who questioned things genuinely, not because they wanted to, not like the Korah's sons of Korah that just wanted to castigate. No, there were people, for instance, remember when they were talking about sharing land, and God had told them that the land that goes to one tribe should not be passed on to another tribe, and there was a reason why it shouldn't be done. And they were told that the land should be passed in from onto the males, not the females were not put in the inheritance. But there were some ladies whose father did not have.
Whose father died did not have a male
exactly.
child,
They challenged it.
Yeah, and they were giving the inheritance, the land.
But if they had not spoken up,
yeah,
they went and questioned it. And Moses, knowing fully that what they asked, even God told Moses, they are right. You know
sorry, Chim, now we're coming back to the very discussion.
Okay.
It's one thing to talk, it's another thing to challenge.
Yes.
These three sisters challenged that, listen, yes, our father do not have a male child, but we are still entitled to that inheritance, even though the condition that was given that you must marry from within that tribe. So it is appropriate, or I don't know, appropriate to question the validity of the opposition of Peter Obi obedient movement.
Of course.
All right, thank you. The floor is back to you.
Of course, that makes them see. Remember where we started? I said to you, it even makes them think. If they are not questioned, see, bro, if you don't question certain things, sometimes even a good intention will begin to lack steam because nobody is putting that person on their toes. Listen, Peter Obi, if we go back 12 months ago, was foot dragging on whether he wanted to contest this election. People have forgotten. He was foot dragging. I saw people on Twitter pushing him, telling him we will support you. And then he joined and went into, or of course, he was already in PDP. And when he read the handwriting on the wall, the same people told him, leave, wherever you go to, we will follow you. And then he moved quickly before PDP began to fall apart with their zoning issues and all that. When you don't face criticism or critiques, it doesn't help you build better. In fact, it doesn't even help you think. But when your opposition is putting you on the toes, or when people outside are firing you a little bit, and I mean not the jealous ones. So remember, there are people who are firing people jealously. But there are people who will say, Oga, I don't agree with you. I'm not happy with your silence. Oga, I'm not happy with the way you've been responding to this. Oga, and you know what? It will ginger him. Today now, I think every month, he holds a town hall on X. That's part of people pushing him to be engaging them. I think the next thing is to push him to start talking to his members in the federal house. He needs to start talking to those guys to tell them you can't afford to go there and give our party a bad name. You understand? Forget Tinubu for once and APC. Focus on your people to show that that Nigerians who trusted them, believed in them, those 6 million Nigerians that voted for you, you understand, and we're hoping that you would win. Show those 6 million Nigerians that voted for your principal that if your principal is on the ballot next time, that 6 million votes is guaranteed. And what you'll be doing, what their behavior will be now, is to expand that 6 million. Hold on, hold on a bit, please. Don't be offended. Hold on. Remember what I said. The whole idea is to show Nigerians that if you had voted for us, this is the kind of leadership you will get. So that people will start saying, you know what? Come 2027, I'm going all out for Labour Party. I'm going all out for people who are with Peter Obi. I can see he's able to galvanize his people. It's not enough to be talking to these people on Twitter. Start calling town hall meetings with your people. Sit them down and say, Nigerians are not happy with you.
Jim, thank you very much for that statement. Start calling out town hall meeting. I think I have said this, and I'm going to repeat myself again. I hardly change position in life, except I know I'm going the wrong path, and somebody say, "Give me reasons, this and that." Town hall meetings needs to be called, and to educate and tell even his own people that listen. It's time for we to now at least take a slight detour. Let us look at Section 68 and Section 110 of the Constitution. To me, if he do that, honestly speaking, because he's been able, like I said, credit must be given to whom credit must be. He's been able to galvanize, to steer the mind of these people. And I can say for a certain that if the citizens actually go with Section 68 and 110 of the Constitution, which no court will ever challenge, it's not subject to go to court. Because if you guys says you don't want somebody in reference to Section 68 and 110, it cannot go to court to challenge it. You know why? Because the court will say, this is your constituency. They say they don't want you. That means I'll be imposing you on them. And that is not the jurisdiction of the court. And I think this is a slight detour it has to take. Like you rightly said, not going to Twitter space. Fine. Like I said, we are here. We can go to Twitter space. We can go to Instagram space. This channel, they have their own positive way. But let's keep it real. That is my own issue with him. If you lose this support, you should kiss everything goodbye.
I agree with you. But let me allow who wanted to say something.
Who wanted to say something? Tony, the floor is yours.
Okay. I'll just chip in this one. By the way, I found out your governor went to pay homage to in Lagos.
Yeah. During
or electricity.
You now.
Me?
Your governor too went to Lagos. Anyway,
every governor went to Lagos.
That's by the way. Anyway, that's part of the problem. Anyway, that's by the way. Obi, I'm afraid if he doesn't take time, he will turn himself to a laughing stock. And that is what IPOB now, because IPOB now is attacking him big time. Because there's a new narrative that he was privy to all the killings in Anambra State, and then all the subsequent killing that has been happening in Anambra State. How come he has not paid condolence and all that? He's now going to the north to pay condolence, which, in my own opinion, it is stupid. Obi needs to position himself more strongly, and if he's scared, let him allow his vice to do some talking. Because I believe that Dati is more fearless, so to say. He's ready to go to jail if need be. Because like Chim just said, that this is now an opportunity for you to start having a town hall meeting. See, you see these little things that we do on Saturday and Sunday and even during the midweek and all that. People have started watching it. People are now watching. How many people go on Twitter? Twitter is seen as for some elite, some certain kind of people. But YouTube, people have started watching YouTube. People watch Arise. People have started watching this program. And I don't know why Obi he doesn't want to come on here to talk to us. so that let's rub minds with him respectfully and ask, and we understand where he's coming from, and try to prefer and help him out with some with some idea. I don't know. I don't understand the man. You want to say something?
Ton, I think what's his name? Rudolph have extended invitation to him.
Yes, he has. He
He's
has. Yeah.
He's not under obligation to, if he wants to.
Of course, obviously.
Yeah.
So I was going to say that
Mhm.
he's already meeting people. So what he's doing on X, he could have done here. So it's okay if he chooses to do it on X. That's fine. Majority
That's
of
it.
his, by the way, majority of his obedient are big X people. So they organize all sorts of town hall there. That's fine. See, when I say town hall, I'm not talking about talking to you and me anymore. I've gone past that. This is where there's governance is going on in Nigeria. Labour Party has about 7 or 8 senators and about how many 30-something members of the Federal House of Representatives.
Yeah.
What I am saying is this: how regularly is he meeting with these people to form, so that, for instance, some of those unpopular decisions that the leadership of the National Assembly takes, his people can stand with the people? Because what is happening is this. See, I want to give Nigerians the benefit of doubt to say, okay, let's even accept the figures that INEC gave each of the 3 candidates. They gave him 6-point-something million. They gave Tinubu 8-point-something million, and they gave Atiku about 6 or 7 million. Let's take those figures. So you know that there's about 2-point-something million votes that he supposedly lost the election with against Tinubu. Now he says he wants to be the official opposition. Beautiful. Nothing wrong with that. That's nice. What I want to see is remember, he's not in government. If this was a parliamentary system, he will be in parliament. He will have a seat. And from there, he will be making alternative views that all of us will be seeing during parliamentary debate. Now, it is his members in both chambers that are in government on his behalf. What I'm saying is, for instance, that car purchase, if he was meeting with his people should be able to come up with a formidable common front to say, don't vote us into this budget for these cars. But assuming you have done so, we are letting Nigerians know that none of our members will accept it. The prayer that was prayed into their accounts, our members will say, we have returned the prayer. We don't accept that prayer. And then he will be the one helping. So when they want to make any decision in the house that is anti-people, his people will come back, discuss, and be able to resist what is going on. Right now, those people are not playing the opposition. See, the opposition in a presidential system is not the same thing in a parliamentary system. I already told, and you know, I'm not telling you anything that is not new. The opposition leader in a parliamentary system is in parliament himself. But in presidential system, if you lose an election, it's only your party members there that are in government. You are not there. So to that extent, I excuse him. But nonetheless, I want to see him have more influence on his legislators and senators, that they would want to vote on something and they will have a common front and vote as a bloc, as a party, either for or against that policy, such that when Nigerians are getting towards the next election, they will say, you know what? I love the way Labour Party senators and House of Reps conducted themselves for the last 4 years. What it tells me is that if their principal is the one voted into office as president, he will do better. That's what I'm saying. But right now, I'm not seeing that. It looks to me that his handlers just take him to X. He says what people love. You understand? And this is not to kick him. I'm not kicking him. They say what people love. But you know what? Sometimes a crowd just wants to hear some sweet talk.
Yeah.
For me, it's gone past that sweet talk. I want to see actions, and when it comes to how
we've gone past that sweet talk. Let me chip this in. Yes, I acknowledge your point of presidential and parliamentary system, which the US run. The US run presidential system, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
But take a look at it. I mean, your point. I'm just buttressing your point.
Yes.
The minority, which is the Democrats. that in respect to Paul McCarthy's removal,
yes,
they only need 8, even though it was not the Democrat that led it. It was what's his name, Margate, that led it. It has to go to meet the Democrat, the minority. You know what, guys? I need your support. I need your full support, your full House support, and you only need 8 or 9 from the Republican.
So remember first and foremost that in that arm of the House, the Congress, the Republicans had more.
They have more.
Good.
And
Now,
Democrats have less.
Yes, a majority of those Republicans wanted McCarthy out.
Yes, majority of them want them out.
So
and this is the politics. This is what you are actually highlighting.
Exactly.
If they have taken a position, even though they are in the minority, even those in the majority will observe them. We'll take a note of them. And say, you know what, these guys are different.
Okay, listen. So you see, that's the thing people don't seem to understand. When you're being righteous, it's not trendy to be a good man. But when you start being a good man, you start winning over some nilly-willy people who are on the fence. You know what? They may not be bold, but when they start seeing how bold you are, they want to associate with you because they want that at the day of reckoning, when they are counting people who stood, you will be associated. You think everybody who fought for the military to live in Nigeria genuinely wanted the military to go? But some people were very calculative. They knew that they don't want to stand on the wrong side of history. So they align themselves with the other side. It's the same thing when politics is being played. There are people in APC who are just there because they don't want to lose their seat. They use it because it's a majority power structure to get there. It doesn't mean they don't want good things. They do. It doesn't mean all of them there are happy that on your mandate was signed. No. But guess what? The moment a few people they start seeing a few people who are able to stand their ground and do what is right. It just takes a little while before they start aligning themselves with you, voting against their party, and following you. But when you are not showing yourself to do the right, those ones just say, I beg, let's just collect our share of the cake and go on. So that's what the point I'm trying to make.
Thank you, Jim. Mr. Oti, welcome to the show. The floor is yours, please.
Hello. Evening, everyone. I hope I hope we're having a good one. Right. Okay. But I think I've not listened throughout, but I think some of the matters touched on by Chim, as well as electricity. Okay. I think for example the thing about Labour Party and or rather OB, let me start with OB. Okay, look, I think Chim, you somehow touched on that, and quite rightly. Now, because a political party, the Labour Party, found itself in a situation where it was never really prepared for, because I mean they kept on saying. I mean, I'm talking about the other parties kept on saying. I mean, you lack structure. You have no structure. So Obi joined the party. He was made a presidential candidate, and of course he joined for the purpose of being a presidential candidate. So there's nothing, that organic, development of, relationship was never there. And also those that joined the Labour Party. I'm not talking about the obedience now. Most of the obedience themselves are no members of, they're not members of any political party. So they just kind of, it's a movement. So the Labour Party is very much a work in progress. When you look at their leader, right? So his stature as a person, as a political leader, well, wouldn't really compare favorably with other leaders. Okay, but I'm not saying that that's not the kind of a criticism. It's just that in a way you look at maybe his background, his experience. How long has he been in active political politics, party politics? So some of these things, some of the critique or the opposition should actually be coming from the Labour Party as if they want to see themselves as an official opposition. So it's not just one person, the candidate. who lost the election. Okay, let's not forget that. So, but then of course you talk about the Labour Party, those who ran on the platform of the Labour Party that actually, became successful. And then they're not part of it. They are not okay. Well, as a member of parliament, you're not really a member of the government, are you? I mean, I'm not really, because the executive is the government. Okay, so they are parliamentarians. They are people's representatives. So they have a role to play in. But the difficulty, the challenge they're facing as a political party is, this lack of, lack of, structure. I mean, let's use that word, structure. They have not they're not really formidable as such. So they need a lot of work to do to be able to play that oppositional role. Okay, so that is just and then Peter Obi himself as a candidate. Well, yeah, I mean, he's doing. I think he's doing what he can do. I mean, one can always do more, but is only one. He was only a presidential candidate. There are other presidential candidates. So what are they doing themselves? So
okay. So Mr. Oti, let me ask you this. Sorry for interjecting.
Can I quickly say something before you ask?
Okay, ask me. Yes,
hold on 1 second, Chim. Structure. Mm-hmm. The other parties, APC, whatever it is, they have structures.
That's great.
Which everybody have said there are structures of criminality.
That's great. But not only. So
insensitivity to this and that. So the Labour Party at the moment also have a structure. They are building on it. It's just like a structure in a house. You want to set up a building. You start from whatever it is, foundation, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And you start to build gradually on it, depending on your... but you see, the integrity of that structure matters a lot. If you meet any architect, they will tell you that the integrity of a structure, meaning that the blocks they're going to use, the cement, the pipes, all those things have to be according to spec. Right. So I'm not going to use a 6-inch rod where I'm supposed to use a 12-inch rod, or a 6-inch rod. I will use a 6-inch rod where I'm supposed to use a 3-inch rod. It may appear thicker, but it may still cause damage. So the existing structure in Labour Party, as Chim and you also have buttressed, the few ones that are there are the one that now will be considered as the foundation of the structure, because they all rode on the horse of Peter Obi. So this is a structure, and this structure is based on integrity, accountability, fairness, and calling good bad. I mean, calling good, and calling evil, and good. Okay. That is the focus. That is what we ask of them. You see why he asked me so much?
Okay. Can I
also
answer
my vote? So the first back.
Sorry. Okay. Can I? You see? No, okay. Yes, my response would be this. Yes, you're right. But you see, now they're being put to the test. Okay, because most of them, I would say, never really had any. Maybe the first time representing anybody, even at a local government, as a council or whatever. So suddenly, most of them find themselves, in the National Assembly or state houses of assembly. So now they have the opportunity to prove themselves. And if someone, was never really cut out for that role, maybe they just were, being opportunistic, right? And they wouldn't pass the test. Okay. So so that's the thing. In other words, when this time it's, then they would have to kind of give account of themselves, And if one never really proved, they wouldn't feel entitled to carry on. Okay. So, and that is where perhaps the movement, the obedient movement, the Labour Party that is in a kind of a that is growing and developing and changing the political dynamics. That's when they would then not allow them to carry on. Are you with me? So because they never were tested. Okay, so it wouldn't really be too surprised if we're not kind of seeing or witnessing kind of the tremendous impact they're making the Nigerian political, so because I mean, if yes, that's true. That's true.
Allow me to interject you. I'm going to throw another gentlemen. Please pardon me for. You said they were never been. Some of them were never.
Most of them, I would say, most of them, yes.
Most of them. Ireti Kingugbe is tested. Has been in the game for long. Okay. Now, Mr. Oti,
yes.
I agree that most of them have not been tested, but we all face a test at a certain.
Wait, that's what they're going on through. They're going through. They are going through that test now. So whether they pass or not,
Okay. In respect to the token that we've highlighted, and in respect to the XUV, and in respect to Akpabio's birthday party that they all donated 1 to 2 million each to his birthday party, is that not a test?
Okay, so now, if you consider it a test, then I would say if not all, at least most failed. Okay, and then this is where, when next time, electioneering, politicking, when they come out again to ask for people's votes, active citizens, okay, because that's democratic life. Active citizens would ask questions, then demand accountability from these people. Okay. They have to, answer these questions. And that's why this is kind of a relationship, a two-way relationship. We don't just vote these people and then allow them to sit there and then represent us. And then, we have to ask them questions. How did you, and wait for their answer. See how because we are watching all these things. We're not just kind of spectators. We're, watching the game of politics being played by politicians. Yes, they are in the, they are in the, in the fray. They are in the, but we are interested. We shouldn't be, we should never feel disinterested or passive. Watching and then complaining. We should be calling them out, and then very soon it will be time for election again. Then we ask them questions. How did you deal? How did you react? What did you say? What kind of private member bill did you sponsor? What so these are the questions. That's where politics, enlighten. It's not this kind of how we, just give you this, give you that. You gotta ask them questions. So I mean, and that is an opportunity, and that's the direction we should be going. And for the obedient movement being a much more kind of the real deal, politics. So that's what they should come in and make a difference. It's not just kind of waiting for handouts and then expecting anything from these our elected representatives, but rather asking them questions, demanding answers, and holding them to account. That is how it should be. So in a which, I mean, I believe all of us here agree that we have to play a much more active role in all of this. So as citizens at various levels, in various ways.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Oti. Osita, welcome. Chim, you have question for Mr. Oti, or you want to weigh in?
It's both questions and comments for him. So first and foremost, Mr. Oti, good to see you again, and Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year ahead. So first of all, nobody's knocking. I'm not knocking Peter Obi. I think he has done well. But what we're saying, where we came up from this conversation, was to see how do we, constructively encourage him with our criticism to go beyond what he's doing. Like, Tone said, we've invited him here, he hasn't come here, and I was explaining that he's been on X. They hold town meetings on X, which is good, but it tells me that majority of his supporters, the obedience, they are mostly on X. So they organize town halls for him all the time to come and talk to them. Now, that's good. That should keep going on. I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying is this. Let's go with the official figures that INEC declared. He had 6-point-something million votes. That's not a bad amount of votes. So my point was this, and I don't want to overflood this issue, but let me use one of the examples I used. if Peter Obi is really the official, or he says he wants to be the official opposition, that's good. We want him to do that. He can go a step further. Remember, like you rightly said, and which is why I was trying to explain for those who don't understand and who may think I'm oblivious of the fact that he's an opposition leader. He's not in parliament. He has no seat, right? This is a presidential system, so presidential candidates don't get seats in parliament. But you could still play your opposition leadership. What I want to see is to what extent he's able to galvanize those 7, 8 senators and about 30-something members of the Federal House of Representatives, to the extent that their decisions and actions and voting will be a reflection of what Peter Obi's Labour Party stands for. So if we're saying that it's immoral and wrong for our senators to be gallivanting and spending, public funds nilly-willy in an economic downturn, we should start seeing that from his senators. We already know that Peter Obi is frugal. We know that. He's shown it. We don't need him to prove any point. People believe that if he gets in there, he will do better. But right now, the senators and members of the House of Reps, who are supposed to be his party men, are not showing that they align with the philosophy of their principle. So for me, what I wanted to see more was him being able to, influence them in terms of their voting. For instance, when the president went, I will let you speak when I'm done. When the president went to the Senate to the National Assembly and they sang that song, we all agreed that was wrong. I didn't see his party members stage a walkout. They should have been able to do that to show their displeasure. However insignificant the majority would have taken it. What I believe is that those structures they are talking about, they keep saying structure, structure, structure. That structure simply means control. It simply means the ability to be able to wield influence. You understand that you're not going to be everywhere, but you can wield influence. Your presence means a lot. When you speak, your party members carry it out. And we saw Tinubu do these things in fairness to Tinubu when he was an opposition. People tend to forget that Tinubu used to be AD, AC, when they did not have huge number of following across the nation. People have forgotten how he single-handedly, with his influence, reached across the aisle to Edo State and helped Oshomole control Edo State. How he did similar thing for for Ngige in Anambra State and helped him get into the Senate and all those things. So and he built that thing and built that influence to the extent that even without his speaking, his structure speaks for him. So how are we going to build this structure if you're only focusing on the obedient movement, but you are leaving your guys who are already in the political terrain, in the trenches, and you're not be able to get them to do the biddings of Nigerians? So that's where I'm saying he needs to do more.
Okay.
With respect to that.
Okay. Let me just respond to. No, sorry. Okay.
Mr. Oti, you are going to respond. Oshita, hold on 1 second, please. Mr. Oti, hold on 1 second. I deliberately highlighted this comments. And I will want us to weigh in. Mr. Oti, you come. I want us to weigh into it because this is very, very important. We must not dismiss it because 2020, I've been saying this all along. It is very, very, very crucial. The people should first push for a functional INEC and judicial system. How can they, or how should the people push for a functional INEC and judicial? In fact, I'm going to ignore the next one, the other one, the part B, judicial. My focus is on INEC. So I want us to take turns and weigh into this, starting from me. The way people, which I've not changed my story is the same thing. The way we, the people, can push for a functional, particularly the obedient or Peter Obi and whatever it is to tell his people, his movement, it is via your leaders through your constituency. Because the issue of INEC in the constitution, the president has the power to appoint the INEC chairman and not subject to question. It doesn't necessarily have to present it to the what? To the House. And this is one of the biggest problem we're going to face in 2027, because the person who wrote this said earlier that, have you seen the new appointment into INEC? It's all APC bag men. This is a dangerous territory. I yield the floor to you, gentlemen. Please take turns as we weigh in on this.
Okay.
Go straight to your point so that we can go around as quick as possible. I will start with Tone, then Oti, then we come to... No, Osita is here. Let's... Tone, sorry, Osita, welcome. Osita, are you there? We'll give Osita the first shot because he just came in. Osita, the floor is yours, please. Okay, I don't think it's ready for us. Tone, we'll come to you.
I didn't know I was muted.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Now I'm saying, before I wade into what you just posted, which is a very important topic, I'll just go back to what you guys were discussing first of all. I wasn't here when you started the conversation, but I know you guys are talking about structure. And I listened to a few submissions from Moti. And I dare say this, the guy on the beret say things accurately, clearly. In fact, the thing he said is so important that I think all of us should take it home and think about it. In fact, sleep on it. But I've also listened to Obi on 2 occasions. When you can remember, we invited Sam Amadi here. I don't know if anyone can remember. Electricity once had Sam Amadi on this platform. I don't know if you were here. That Dr. Damages hosted him.
I'm not sure I was here, but go ahead. Chim acknowledge that.
Dr. Damages asked Amadi what happened in Imo State Labour Party. How come he couldn't get the ticket? Then Amadi said to him that when Imo State people are tired of playing money politics, what will happen? Then they will start looking for him. Now, one would have thought that Labour Party itself would have tried to do things differently. But it shows you that there are people with ulterior motive everywhere in Nigeria. Labour Party, for as long as we know, used to be like a party in the graveyard. The only reason why Labour Party is prominent today is because they took that step and give Obi ticket. Then after he got the ticket, politicians, as calculative as always, what happened? They went where the wave was and also captured it. Now people have asked, Sam Amadi said, Obi said to him, I was the one who asked him to contest in Imo State primaries. But then again, of course, knowing the personality of Peter Obi, he's not going to be the one who will go about and say, make sure it is this person. I listened to Obi on X when he was asked, okay, what's happening? Because people were trying to ascertain his level of influence on those elected members. He said something that was clear-cut. He said, there's only one place he has one vote, and that is in Anambra. For this, maybe something like primaries, or that is only in Anambra that he has one, and there's only one vote he has. That all he does is advise, and that he continues to tell the party chairman to do what? To always fill in the best candidate. People are asking why Imo State didn't win an election. Imo State didn't win an election. Labour didn't win an election. Why? Because they didn't fill the best candidate. They didn't win the election in Enugu State. Why? Because they didn't fill the best candidate. If you're trying to upturn a ruling government, you need to come with something exceptionally distinguished that will make people cut out their neck for you. That will make people swear on your mandate. That will make people, place their life on your mandate. That would want them to say, make I die. If to say this thing. Look at how people were sticking up for people, be waiting till 4 o'clock to count mandate, to count election. Do you think it was because of Labour Party? It was because of the trust they have on the personality of one individual. Look at what the personality of one individual has created a whole chain of conversation for all of us in the diaspora, re-aspirated all of us. So what makes us think it is different when it comes to governorship elections, local government chairman elections? Now coming to the personality of Peter Obi. Obi, I'm sure he does advise, but the sort of opposition we need, the leader we need in an opposition at this moment, is someone who can do more than advise. Now, I'm not trying to encourage state capture, because there is a very thin line between someone turning himself into a demigod. And I think Obi, he clearly understands the line that in a democracy, you're not supposed to impose your will. That you can, all what you need is advisory. Mind you, Obi is not an activist. So after a few weeks, and I've been having these thoughts in myself, it brought me back to one person, one solution, one person. I started thinking again about Showore. Now, please, before you hunt me down, you shut me down, let me just give my own piece. The personality we need at this point to play opposition, unfortunately, is the clear personality of Peter Obi, who is able to say very deep things in just few simple language that will cause people to go and start reflecting, saying, it's true. But also, we need the personality of Showore, someone like Showore as well, who will go out all the way where the fire is. Because Obi, remember, he's also part of the 1% of the corporation we have in Nigeria. Even if he got his money legitimately, Obi has a lot invested in Nigeria. If war breaks out today in Nigeria, or if something happens in Nigeria today, he is one of the people who will lose the most. Him and the Atikus. That is why during his campaign, he never rubbed Atiku's feathers. Therefore,
okay, we lost Osita there. I think
I'm here.
Okay, you disappeared for a few seconds.
I don't know why that was. So Obi is a lot invested in Nigeria.
Forces are working against you.
He has a lot in Nigeria that he cannot afford to give us that effective charge. Now, just suppose that with a person like Showore. I just watched Showore's clip today when people are asking him about the past governor from the state, and I was marveled. Showore will go as far as telling his candidates from day one, if you continue this, like if you were sure that we're having this conversation, some of the ideas you've been giving us, electricity would have started being implemented about how to call back.
Let me interject you in that.
How to call back some legislators already. If Showore, because Showore is a party administrator.
Hold on 1 second.
Go on.
Interject you. Allow me to interject you. We're talking about the nation now. Do you agree on that? Even though Peter Obi is the focus of attention, we are talking also about what is good for the best the best interest of the nation.
He shouldn't be the only focus. He shouldn't be the only focus.
No, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be the only focus. If you were in the last broadcast, Showore issue came up. And it shouldn't wait because, like I said, for the good of the nation. It still has supporters, which also it can galvanize in respect to what you just highlighted that I said earlier, Section 68 and 110. If this is really the problem, okay, I don't want to delve into this because there's a program scheduled for this matter. It's Showore, Peter Obi, and others. So if we could just focus on that, then we will leave this one for another day. If you don't mind, and I don't mind, I will appreciate if you come on the platform on that day.
Sorry, what did you say? Which conversation did you say we should drop?
I mean the issue of Showore, and because we discussed it, I think on today. So today is Thursday. It was discussed on Wednesday.
No, but they are all I think they are all connected. Conversation brings conversation.
I need the floor back to you. Go ahead.
You get? They are all connected because now we are talking about how do we call back those legislators that are standing up for Asiwaju.
Yeah.
That exactly that's what led me to this.
Okay.
Let us say, of course, had it been, it was a show, and I don't have any regrets. Everyone who knows me knows I campaigned for Obi. Okay. But I'm talking of in context of what is happening at the moment. What is happening at the moment, we need a leader who will take off the gloves. We need an opposition without gloves on.
And your considered opinion,
I highly doubt.
All right. I'll come back
to you. Has the capacity to play such opposition that we need. Because look at someone spoke about what Asiwaju did. And it's about building structures. And as long as I can tell,
can I just come in?
As long as I can tell, Showore has built a better structure compared to Obi.
Okay. So now listen.
Showore has better capacity to build structures more than Obi.
Okay.
Let me tell you the only thing that fits Obi. Let me tell you the only thing that fits Obi. And I'll just say this last thing and I'll just give the floor. The only thing that fits Obi is when the structure is properly built, call him and give him the ticket. That's all. That is all. But waiting for Obi to build the structure, forget it. We are not going to get anywhere.
Hold on.
He will just be on his X. You see that his X to Twitter. And be dropping it small. That is all.
Can I just come in? Let's not talk.
And I'm sorry if I disappoint you guys, but that is true.
No. You made the point. That's to your view.
But Osita, 8 months did P2B got a 3-way tie.
Excuse me.
I don't know whether he can.
Now
you think he will get a 3-way tie in 2027 with this kind of opposition?
Excuse me. Can I just?
People are dreaming.
Look. First of all, remember when we were talking about I talked about the Labour Party, structure or lack of structure. So because the party leadership, because is a party politics, party. Nobody can run as an independent, so you have to belong to a political party. So and that the task of building a political party, establishing the structure, is that has to be done. And of course, maybe somebody who is going to be a good presidential candidate doesn't necessarily have to, doesn't have to be a good party manager,
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's the thing. And then, expecting somebody, looking up to somebody to do everything, that is wrong-headed, So in the end, this is all of our tasks. So we have to, every citizen, okay? So for example, if the shoulder of a guy can establish, set up, and solid.
Mr. Tone, can you be a bit more, Mr. Oti, can you be a bit more audible? I'm struggling to hear. Maybe I'm the only one. If I'm the only one, I'll log out and I'm logging back.
Sorry. Okay. What I'm saying is, okay. Now, you mentioned Showore, for example, to be a good manager of a political party, setting it up, but does not necessarily gonna make him a good presidential candidate or a good president for that matter. Okay. So now the thing is this: we have a Labour Party, and that's
I never suggested that he should be a presidential candidate. No. Please, understand me,
gentlemen. Let's
maintain. I find Obi. I find Showore a more effective opposition.
Gentlemen.
I didn't say anything about being a presidential candidate.